This is Matthew McConaughey, and this was his bourbon Wild Turkey Longbranch. Does this Texan know bourbon, or is this all just marketing hype? Let's find out. Longbranch is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey distilled and bottled by Wild Turkey, which is owned by Campari. Campari owns like Sky Vodka, Grand Marnier, and they just bought Wilderness Trail. We went over the history of the Wild Turkey distillery in the Wild Turkey 101 video. So if you want to know more about their general history, check that one out. This bottle was actually a fairly recent creation by the brand. Matthew McConaughey, yes, the actor, not some whiskey industry veteran by the same name, was actually hired by Wild Turkey as a brand ambassador in 2016 and given the title of creative director. And Longbranch is supposedly a collaboration between McConaughey and master distiller Eddie Russell, and it was released just a couple of years later in 2018. This supposedly starts its life as just a normal Wild Turkey product, with its mash bill of 75% corn, 13% rye, 12% malted barley, aged for 8 years, although there is no age statement on the bottle, so they may blend in some stuff a little younger than that. The main difference is, though, this is refined using Texas mesquite charcoal. Now, who knows what they mean by refined? That's a great marketing term, but it doesn't really tell us what they do, what the actual process is. My guess would be that they just filter it through some mesquite charcoal, but it's just a guess. If y'all know exactly what the process of refinement is, let me know in the comments. Wild Turkey recently announced that Matthew McConaughey will not be continuing in his role as brand ambassador and creative director, and so his name has been removed from the label as of late last year. Now, there's no sign that this bottle is going to go away or change in any meaningful way other than just taking his name off the label. So let's see what that label actually tells us. On the front, it's simple enough. Wild Turkey Longbranch, Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey, oak and Texas mesquite charcoal refined. The signatures of Matthew McConaughey and Eddie Russell. Small batch aged in American oak, expertly crafted. A ton of negative space to show off the golden color of the whiskey. Like, that is a simple little small label. And on the back, another small label with all the required government crap. But overall, really simple bottle design. I dig this bottle design. I wouldn't mind more labels if you want to put more transparency on there. That's good, but I don't really need some sort of marketing novel because we know that's all mostly BS anyway. This is an 86 proof whiskey. MSRP on it's right around $40, and you should be able to find this just about anywhere that sells Wild Turkey. It's usually a celebrity name attached to it. It's gonna come with a premium price. If you're gonna put my name on it, you're gonna have to give me a few dollars off of every bottle, and I'm sure that's the case here with Matthew McConaughey as well. So $40 for a celebrity whiskey, in the grand scheme of things, it's not a terrible price. But is it worth it? We'll find out here in a second. Let's look at these distillers' notes. An 86 proof small batch Kentucky straight bourbon aged 8 years and refined with American oak and mesquite charcoal. The nose, caramel, vanilla, toffee with hints of oak. Taste, a sweet bouquet up front with subtle notes of nutmeg and toffee. Spice and a hint of oak provide a sturdy middle before giving way to a smooth Kentucky straight bourbon finish. Finish, a smooth finish with a pop of heat. Caramel trails off into a subtle smoky goodbye. All right, some good marketing copy there on your tasting notes. I'm going to judge this bottle on 6 different criteria. But before I do that, it really helps me out if you'll hit the like button. Maybe consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. Also, whiskey's expensive, so your support on Patreon and channel memberships here on YouTube really make it possible for us to do what we do. If you're interested in supporting us that way, links as always are in the description. Also, if you really want to help our bourbon budget, you can find cool merch like our horse collector shirts here, only available at Brewzle.com. That's enough talking. Let's get to drinking. Here is my blind review of Wild Turkey Longbranch. So if you've missed our last few reviews and you didn't pay attention through this one, we've changed things up a little bit. And so we're gonna do the Brewzle score. This is Brewzle score 2.0. And I'll explain it as we go through it just to make sure everybody understands, or if this is the first one you stumble upon, hopefully you'll be able to keep up. But just stick with me and I'll get you there. Now the first change is that I'm trying these blind. So I have no idea what's in this bottle. This is bottle number 4. I'm just grabbing the closest ones to me and going through it like that. I also only have 2 ounces because I don't know what it is. I can't pour more, and I tend to want 3 ounces to do this sample. So I might have to pour a little more next time. And I'm gonna take the card. My wife has been kind enough to blind these for me, and I've got the card Because we're doing math, I gotta take notes now. So the first criteria, aroma slash flavor. We've grouped these together because they are related, like they're so related. Oh my goodness, what have I got here? It smells like it's got some proof to it. I would say over 100 proof. Oh, nice, bright red fruit, cherry notes to it. That nose is freaking spectacular. But the flavors are just kind of tampered down a little bit. Like it's not as exceptional as I had thought. Like I really want to cheat on these. Like I really want to cheat, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. But Lord have mercy, do I want to know what this is before I start on it, because I know they're going to sneak something good in here. I know one of these samples is going to be a banger, and I'm going to look like an idiot if I shit on it, because the nose is good. Now I go back to it, I'm getting a little like kind of rusty, dusty, and maybe it just took my nose a little bit to acclimate. On the palate though, it's not coming through wonderfully. So not bad, but like the flavors are just mute. Like I was expecting something with the nose. And honestly, now that I go back, that I've tasted it, the nose is not as good. I'm picking up some of those same notes. Overall, I'm gonna give it a 55. So above average, it might be pushing a 60, like that might be a little light. I think the second pour would be much better. So I'm trying to decide, like, do we give it 55? Do we give it 60? I'm gonna leave it at 55. So the next criteria is complexity. How does it evolve? What does it do on the palate? And I'm not sure we have enough of it to even get these scores done now. This doesn't have a ton of evolution. Like it's a lot of flavor up front and then a little bit on the mid palate, and it just gets lighter and kind of dissipates on the finish. Overall, the complexity is not great. Again, I think slightly above average. Like it's got some interesting things there. So this is definitely not a bottom shelf whiskey, but just not enough for me to really love it. So I'm gonna give it a 55 as well. And the next criteria is mouthfeel. Like what's the thickness, the viscosity? And so it doesn't have a ton of proof. Not loving the mouthfeel on it. It's not bad. I would say it's probably a little bit above average. Like I just wanna hammer it at that 55 because I just don't think it's quite enough to get a 60, although the mouthfeel might be. Like the thickness, the way it coats the palate might be enough to get the 60. So I'm gonna give it the 60 on that. We're gonna move on to finish. That is 10% of the overall score. It's a little bit of, like there's not much finish there. It's not displeasing at all, but there's just nothing to love about it. It gets a 50. And so the next two criteria are worth 5% of the total overall score each, and that's availability and value. But that requires me to know what whiskey's here, and despite me wanting to cheat, I resisted and I did not. And so I'm hoping this is not like a William LaRue or it's not. I'm hoping this is not like some whiskey that I would think is necessarily exceptional, but I'm about to find out. Y'all already know. So as I'm going through this, you get to feel all the pain if this was a good one. And this is Longbranch. Is my palate off? Like I would have scored Longbranch less than this. I'll be honest with you. When I went back, did I mention it? It kind of has a little bit of kind of a bitterness, a little bit of a bite to it, but it was better than I remember. I'll be honest with you. That was better than I remember Longbranch being. I didn't get too much of that kind of mesquite bitterness that I remember from Longbranch. So it was better than I thought it was gonna be, but I think the score holds up. Whew, so far I haven't looked like an idiot on these blinds, so at least I don't think I have. Y'all may disagree, but that's okay. Longbranch is available pretty much everywhere. Now it's not Jack Daniel's No. 7 and you can pick it up at every liquor store everywhere, but this stuff is from Wild Turkey. It's pretty much everywhere. It's a 90 on availability. And the next criterion is going to be value. Now I'm not seeing an MSRP listed, but I do see it for sale from $30 to $35 or so. So as far as value goes, this whiskey, which is a good kind of middle of the road whiskey, maybe slightly above average whiskey, that's a pretty good value, but you could just have Wild Turkey 101 for even cheaper. And so I don't think the mesquite mellowing process makes this better than Wild Turkey 101, especially with the proof discrepancy, right? I don't know what this is. I don't have the proof right in front of me. So value's going to get like taken down a couple of notches, but overall at 30 bucks, 40 bucks, pretty good. So I'm gonna give it a 65. This gives Longbranch a Brewzle score of 57.25, which puts it right up above Jack Daniel's Old No. 7. It's like anything above 50 is absolutely worth drinking. If it's below 50, that's where we get a little iffy. We'll see as we continue to rank these. Some of these will start skewing below 50, but so we're just trying to get better. So y'all let me know, and I'll see y'all in the next one.